Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Leslie presents. And now your host, Paul Leslie.
Aloha to Jen Chapin. She's been kind enough to grant us an interview. Hello there.
Hello there. Do you say aloha to all your guests?
It means hello, goodbye, I love you. Whatever you want it to mean.
It's a great word.
So I've read that your music has been described as urban folk. What would you say a Jen Chapin song is?
Well, I like that term urban folk, because partly because it's sort of ambiguous. It leaves some of things open to interpretation, and I think that's a lot of what I try and have in my music, that it can reach different people in different ways. I always write, music as lyrics that are personal to me, but that might sort of resonate in larger issues beyond my own personal life. I always, I'm really grounded in a sense of rhythmic tension, and for me that's sort of the urban part, that there's this groove, there's this propulsion, there's this intensity, even if it's like a slow ballad. I always hope to have that kind of rhythmic underpinning, and the folk part for me is sort of meaning in lyrics, meaning in ideas, and going beyond just cliches. That's always a goal of mine.
So, for someone that is not familiar with Jen Chapin music, what can someone expect when they go and see a Jen Chapin show?
Well, I always want people to be able to recognize the contributions of the musicians aside from myself. Naturally, people always pay attention to the singer, and in this case also the songwriter and the composer of the songs, but I feel like my music it's so much been built on the contributions of this wonderful community of players that I've been fortunate enough to meet up with in New York City. So I always hope that people can really focus on, what's going on with the Rhodes piano, what the drummer's doing, what the bass and what the guitar are doing. Jamie Foxx, who plays guitar with me, he's featured a number of times as a soloist in his show, and he's an incredible soloist as well as being a supportive player in his comping in the song. So that's always part of it. We always try and make the songs a little different every time. There's always room for a little bit of interpretation, improvisation, spontaneity. There's a jazz underpinning as far as all our perspectives and that sense of interacting with each other. We're not all in some little box just playing our parts, but we're all listening to each other and engaging with each other and responding musically to each other's ideas.
And you have a new album out, and you mentioned jazz, and I noticed there was a lot of jazz feel to it, and it's called Linger. Tell us a little bit about this new national debut.
Well, the word debut is kind of loaded because a lot of people tease me for that. They say, debut? Well, I know you've put out other records in the past, and which is true. I've, on an independent level, just on my own dime, been putting out a few CDs over the years. I put out a live album, but, just printed up 1,000 copies, selling it at shows and on the Internet, and then 2 years ago put out a record called Open Wide, which was a duo album of just acoustic bass and voice, and really intimate, really stripped down, and a great portrait of the essence of the songs. So Linger really feels like a debut in a lot of ways because it's the first one that has been nationally distributed, that I have the support of a great little record label called Hybrid Recordings. And it's also the first time that I've been able to assemble a band that really represents the integrity of what I want the songs to be. And it's as I said about the live recordings, the live performance, there's a lot of valuable input from the musicians, and there's a lot of spotlights put on the musicians. My voice is front and center, but we have some, interesting little nooks and crannies that different players and the different sounds are featured in.
When I say the Jen Chapin Band, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, it's funny you're asking me now when I'm on tour, so I think of being in the van and making bad jokes, being really all wrapped up together. I mean, that's such an interesting part of being a touring musician, especially on the level I'm at, where you're not yet insulated with some big touring van and some big support operation. It's just the five of us out here, so we're all in this together. We're all staying at the Super 8s and looking at the MapQuest directions to get from place to place and trying to find good food that's not fast food, and it's a unit, it's a partnership, and we have to focus hard on having fun and bringing the energy to the music. Sometimes after a long day of traveling. Today was relatively easy. We only had 4 hours from Nashville. The day before, or actually yesterday, we drove 9 hours to get to Nashville. Tomorrow's going to be easy. We're just doing a couple hours to get to Chattanooga. But it's a band. I mean, part of me, although I'm writing my own songs, it's under my name. There's not a separate band name, and I'm definitely the leader. I always want to be part of a band. I'm a social musician. I love interacting with other musicians, and that's a big part of my music.
I understand you have an academic history as well, and you studied abroad in Mexico and Zimbabwe. I'm sure that is something that's definitely put a mark on your life. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I was a college student studying international relations at Brown University in Rhode Island, and as part of that, I did some international study. Spent a summer in Mexico doing some in-depth immersion in the Spanish language, and then when I spent the semester in Zimbabwe, I was living with a family there in the capital city and doing some coursework on the politics, history, and economics of Southern Africa. So I definitely am that kind of thinker as far as always trying to look at the big picture, trying to learn more about the world around me, getting different perspectives, and I think that does show up in the music to one degree or another as far as there being different rhythms, different ideas, sort of beyond what I hope for is beyond just the typical kind of stuff.
One of your songs, Gold, you mentioned there's a line that says, "I want to stir up some trouble everywhere I go." Hey, please explain.
That's that song and that line. That song is about just living life to the fullest, and I can't say that I always achieve that goal. But the theme of the song, the chorus of the song is, wherever I go, wherever we go, we've got gold. That in whatever situation, and touring is a good example of that. Sometimes, things aren't so comfortable, things aren't so luxurious, but you try and find that shimmer, you try and find that light, you try and find that richness of experience, of interaction with new people. And as far as stirring up some trouble, I mean, I'm a little bit talking big there. I'm a tame girl, but it's I suppose it's true to some extent as far as trying to push buttons, trying to get people thinking where you can, trying to exchange ideas.
And you just mentioned trying to get people to think about things. And I'm going to bring up a song which I thought this was kind of funny. Billboard magazine said that this song echoed Jimmy Buffett. Well, another magazine said that it was kind of like a country song, but it's a really good song. It's called Passive People, and there's a strong significance of social conscience in it. So tell us a little bit about Passive People.
Sure. This song, I was pulling on some of the tradition that people like Bob Marley and Stevie Wonder established or carried on as far as having a song that has a social consciousness message, but sounds like a party. Whether it's a reggae beat or a funk beat or just something fun and light, and that's definitely the tonality of the song, as Billboard alluded to, and People magazine magazine alluded to. That's kind of a fun, feel-good song. It's got sort of a rumba Latin beat, and that's juxtaposed with some lyrics that are have some edge to them, just as far as I mean, I wrote it actually during the last election season, and now it's even more relevant today, I think, as far as as a country where the country was founded on the ideal of an informed citizenry, of people taking the time to be experts on issues that really are relevant to their own lives, of looking beyond sound bites and little shortcuts of information to instead, getting to learn the facts. And, we all, we're watching debates now and talking about people's hairstyles or their facial expressions, and paying attention to those cues more so maybe than the substance. So it's a challenge, but it's also a song of empathy about that challenge, that it's hard, when we're all so busy. We're in this high-tech, high-paced life, and it's a challenge to take that responsibility of being a citizen, of being informed. So that's what the song's about.
And speaking of social conscience, there is an organization called World Hunger Year, which you are very much involved in. And I'd like it if you could tell us a little bit about World Hunger Year, acronym WHY.
Sure. We've been emphasizing lately the why, just because although we maintain an international perspective, our focus in recent years has been much more on hunger and poverty here in the United States. And what why does is find the most innovative, the most effective solutions to hunger and poverty that are already taking place, being implemented on the ground across the country, especially on the grassroots level in communities in all 50 states. So we work with grassroots organizations, with community-based organizations who are doing everything from supporting small family farmers, sustainable agriculture, community gardens, bringing fresh produce to inner-city neighborhoods, after-school programs with high-risk kids, teaching art, job training programs, life skills training for people to learn how to balance their checkbook or be more informed to stay on guard against financial exploitation, low-income housing, healthcare, just the whole spectrum of different innovations and creative solutions that are helping people beyond the short term, but in getting to help build self-reliance in individuals and families and in communities. So we work on economic justice, we work on self-reliance, we help to support these solutions that are already proving to be effective and grow them.
And some of you listeners might not be aware that Jen Chapin is the daughter of the late, great Harry Chapin. And one of the songs has the remnants of an electronic drum beat that was left over from Harry Chapin's home studio. I thought that was real interesting, so fill us in.
Sure. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned my dad right after asking about why, because why was actually founded by my dad in 1975, and that's, in a way, been his most immediate legacy to me. Though I am a musician, I think of his inspiration as far as being a social activist and a humanitarian much more in my life than I think about his music, although his music is, of course, a source of inspiration to me. And as you mentioned, some of his instruments and tools I've sort of inherited. So Passive People, the song we were talking about before, it's built on this rumba beat that's electronically generated from this funky old artifact of a drum machine. Also on Linger, we used a few of his guitars that I've have laying around, and so it's kind of a nice little piece of continuity.
And one of the other songs is called Little Hours, and I'm imagining that that's how the title of the album Linger comes from. So tell us a little bit about the title track.
Sure. It's a song that it talks about just taking it easy, about maintaining your own sense of peace and calm in a hectic world. So it's kind of a theme to the record. There's a last verse where I talk about my sense of progress has me going in circles, and saying in a way, well, maybe that's okay. You know, that we're always put such emphasis on moving forward, on progress, on faster, 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 and sometimes we need to step back a little bit and put the focus on where we are and how that can be enriching.
So where can someone find out about World Hunger Year, and also where can they find out more about you and your music?
Thanks for asking. Y has a great website. It's got over 500 pages of content about these grassroots programs I'm talking about a lot of the efforts we do, and also just general information about hunger and poverty, about agriculture, about food security, and all these other accompanying issues. And their website is worldhungeryear.org. That's worldhungeryear.org. My own website is jenchapin.com. That's JenChapin. And I've got lots of information on there about me. My songs are all streamable online. Songs from Linger, songs from the album I mentioned, Open Wide, some other songs. There's links to Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com where people can pick up the album Linger, but it's also in your neighborhood record store, and if you don't see it on the shelves, you can ask and they can dig it out for you or put in an order for you, because it's widely distributed.
And I understand that one of the ways you can help with Y is just by picking up an album. Some of the proceeds from the album go to help Y.
Yeah, it's kind of an amazing gesture by my record company, and I've never heard of any record company doing anything like this, but they came up with the idea of having 2% of the royalties right off the top go to support Y's work. So that's a great thing, and we're hoping to really build some momentum with the album and build our audience so that we're able to make that into a nice little income stream for Y. So it's a great gesture by Hybrid.
We are doing this interview literally on the streets of Atlanta, but this is going to go out all over the world. So I'm going to ask Jen, what do you want to say to the world?
What do I want to say to the world? That's a really big question. Be yourself, world. Be yourself. Don't get pressured. Do your own thing.
Jen, thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Cool.